Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Chuck.
I want to get to a number of items, but let me pick up where I just left off there. I heard your comments this morning, and you said, look, the president can ask for any investigation he wants. It's up to the FBI whether they agree that an investigation is warranted. Are you at all concerned, though, about the appearance of this meeting, that the president is convening a meeting basically with people that are supporters of his who are trying to micromanage, to be generous, the investigation into him? The appearance doesn't look very good.
Well, you either trust Rob Rosenstein and Chris Wray or you don't. What I said on Scarborough's show this morning, and I'll say it again, the president has the right to request an investigation. You have the right to request an investigation. I have the right. The people who asked the FBI to look into the activities and the behavior of the shooter in Parkland in Florida had the right.
Right.
None of us have the right, including the president, to influence an investigation and try to tell the FBI and the Justice Department how the results should be of an investigation. I don't see any evidence that the president has done that. He didn't try to hide his meeting. I think Rosenstein and Wray were both there. If he does try to influence it, I will speak out against it. But he has the right to ask for an investigation. And I don't, honestly, Chris, I realize there are always two sides to every story up here, or Chuck, but that's his prerogative. Now, you may not like the way he does it, and you may not like the tweets that he uses, Chuck, about it, but that's a separate issue from whether he has the right to say, okay, the FBI or the Justice Department or somebody sent an informant into my campaign, and hey, I'd like to know what's going on. I'd kind of like to know myself.
Do you think that he would be taken more seriously by everybody if it was a bipartisan meeting? It seems odd to me to only invite your Republican supporters from the House to view this evidence.
Well, I'm not a House Republican. I'm a House Senator, but I think that if the House leadership is allowed to see certain documents, I think that it's perfectly appropriate. Indeed, I would recommend it that our Democratic colleagues in the House be allowed to send representatives as well. I think that's only fair.
Is there a point? What is your breaking point on this when it comes to how you've seen this get? Look, at the end of the day, it feels as if there's an attempt to politicize everything that we're talking about these days. At what point do you say, you know what, there's too many people mucking with this investigation? Will somebody just let this investigation play itself out? He's Robert Mueller. This guy isn't, Javert. He's got a track record that has got high-level bipartisan credentials here. At what point is there enough people to say, you know what, enough with these tactics, guys. You're making the president look guilty even if you don't think he is.
Well, I can only give you my point of view. I mean, I don't hate anybody. I know that's rare up here, but I really don't. I want to see the facts, and here's what we know, or here's what I think I know. Russia tried to influence the 2016 elections. Did they succeed? We don't know yet. So we have a member of the FBI, he's specially appointed, Mueller, who's supposed to get the facts. We also know we have Mr. Horowitz, the Inspector General at Justice, looking into it as well. Everything else is just spin and rumor and speculation and innuendo on both sides, including the president. But he's got the right to his opinion, just like those who hate him have the right to their opinion. And I'm prepared to wait for the facts. I don't think Mr. Mueller ought to be fired. I don't think he's a bad guy. I have confidence in the Inspector General. I just want the facts. And then I'll let the American people decide. They're smart enough to figure this out. They're plenty smart. They will figure this out. But everything else, Chuck, is just sometimes it's interesting to listen to, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong to do it, but it's all speculation. You know, the gentleman that you just had on, I don't remember his name. He seemed to be very intelligent, but talking about this has provoked a constitutional crisis, I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Fair enough,
we don't
but
have any facts yet.
I think you're warning about let the investigators finish their investigation before we question their investigation.
I mean, I wish they would.
I know
wish
it's a
they
crazy
would
idea.
Hurry up. I do wish they would hurry up. I think all Americans who are in good faith would like to see these investigations concluded sooner rather than later. They're important, but they do suck up a lot of oxygen. I mean, there are times up here on the Hill that's all folks want to talk about. That's okay, except there are other important issues too. I'm not saying the investigation is not important, but it does take up a lot of oxygen.
Look, I want to talk about a bill that you're actually co-sponsoring with Joe Manchin, because in some ways it's about this larger issue of distrust and trust in our institutions as it is. It has to do with lobbyists. So in some ways it's part of that larger trust issue we're dealing with. But let me ask you this. Your bill would require lobbyists to disclose if they've been convicted of bribery, extortion, tax evasion, and other crimes.
Yes.
Why are you confident this will be constitutional? And the reason I say this is any American citizen can be a lobbyist. Now, registering it, there's certain rules about at some point why you have to register as one. But at what point are you, do you think that the Supreme Court might say, you know what, you're actually getting in the way of a citizen's right to lobby their government?
Well, you make an excellent point. We all as Americans have the right to petition our government, and professional paid lobbyists have the right on behalf of a client to lobby the government as well. What Senator Manchin's bill and my bill says is that if you're required to register under the Lobbyist Disclosure Act, then one of the things you have to tell us is whether you've ever been convicted of a crime like fraud or embezzlement or kickback or bribes. We had a horrible situation years ago with a gentleman by the name of Jack Abramoff,
right,
who scammed a Native American tribe in my state out of $31 million by saying that he needed the money to do some grassroots work. And I was surprised to find out that lobbyists, when they register, are not required to say if they've been convicted of these crimes. I mean,
do you think this will do anything? What do you think this will do? I mean, why not? Why not figure out a way to curtail how much money they're allowed to donate or raise?
If we've learned anything from the Russian investigation, we've learned that you got to be careful who you meet with. Now, I like to know. I tell my staff all the time, look, I know we're all in a rush here, but I want to know who I'm meeting with. Can I look them up on Wikipedia? Pull their registration. I'd like to know who they are. And that's all this bill says is if you care to look, you'll be able to find out if somebody who wants to talk to you professionally on behalf of a client has been convicted of bribing a congressman. I'd kind of like to know that.
I do think when you're convicted of bribing a congressman, that is, my guess is usually pretty good public record on there. Senator John Kennedy.
It's relevant.
Fair enough. I agree. It's not irrelevant, that's for sure. I would assume they wouldn't be hired to lobby much after that anyway. But anyway, Senator Kennedy.
This is Washington. Anything around here can happen, Chuck.
Now, that is a very true statement, sir. Thanks for coming on and sharing your views.